Also,
No, in the
More about gel coat.
When the fourth round would...
Don't you call in the...
More importantly, he knew what he was talking about.
Oh, jeez. There's just nothing good on. Oh, wait. Wait a minute. I got an idea of what I could do. Hey, everybody. It's Cyborg, and I'm here with a temporary username, and he's gonna break down his top 10 characters he wants to see in Mortal Kombat 11. The reveal of the game is obviously still about half a year away. So what we're doing here today is Temp is going to actually break down the top 10. He's going to start at number 10, then go to number 9, then number 8, then number 7, then number 6, then number 5. He might get to number 4, and then after number 4, if he gets to number 4, he's going to hit number 3. You can bet you he's going to get to number 2. And by God, if we have the time willing, it's going to get to number 1. We're going to start off with number 10 here, so... For your 10th most wanted character for MK11, who do you got, sir?
Oh, we got Reptile.
Do we have Reptile, though? Is
We
that
got Reptile.
actually something you feel confident in?
No, I don't. Actually, I think there's a good chance he's going to sit this one out.
Maybe
which is a shame.
Maybe he will be a vessel for the Dragon King. How do you feel about that?
I think that's lame, because MKX was kind of a redemption story for Reptile. At least in terms of gameplay. Almost everyone on this list is a gameplay selection with maybe one exception. But yeah, he was probably one of the most interesting characters in MKX. And I would say he has maybe like a 20% chance of coming back. I feel like he's going to go back in the toy box with a few other characters since he's been in so many games at this point.
It's interesting that you say that he's a gameplay selection and that most of your characters that are on this list are going to be gameplay selections. Is that because you have come to the realization that no matter what character you actually want for story purposes, that at the end of the day you realize you're just going to play a character because they're actually fun?
Probably, yeah.
That is a good realization to come to, and I'm right there with you, sir. When I get around to my top 10, I'm on the same wavelength. Totally sticking with the gameplay aspect. You know what? Fuck Cyrax, because at the end of the day, it's all about the gameplay, my dude. So, Reptile it is. You want to do more slow motion slides about 50 times before the person hits the ground? That's cool.
Do I?
You want stinky Reptile? Okay.
No. There's a lot of stinkiness in Injustice too. I think I'm good in the stinkiness for a while. I think
maybe get
just like 7 or 8 slides in a combo. It sounds. Oh god, that's another great reason. Nimble was the coolest shit on Earth. So yeah, Reptile number 10. Good shit.
Snake belt it is. All right, we'll move on. We're just going to keep on rolling to number 9. What do you got, sir?
I got Shao Kahn.
Okay, the pre-order bonus. All right, what are your thoughts on Shao Kahn?
I want to do combos with Shao Kahn. I want to see like a balanced gameplay rendition of Shao Kahn. I don't think the closest we've ever gotten to this is GameCube Deception and Armageddon. And I don't think anyone was a lot of fun in that engine, unfortunately. So I'm actually I'm pretty excited to see what a gameplay Shao Kahn would be like. As sort of like this interesting strike character. I don't necessarily want to see him be like a big bruiser. I think there's enough of that already. There's a lot of characters who fill that role better. So yeah, I would love to see like this methodical kind of like bulky martial artist with I just like his moveset. I think his moveset has a lot of potential. So, yeah, Shao Kahn is my number 9. I think a lot of people are ready for that. I think it's time. I think the wait has been a while. I think people are ready to play Shao Kahn.
Shao Kahn returning to the 2D world. We had MK9, we had MKX, where it almost seemed like he was teased. The big dude being created in the little blood pit there. So I think MK11, I think you're right. I think you're onto something here, my man. That he could be brought back. I would not be surprised if he is a pre-order bonus, because they're going to continue on that trend. So you got to have a big name character in that, and I think Shao Kahn fits the bill. If he's not like the main baddie, the main man, the main mandible with the plan, if he's not that in the game, I think making him a pre-order bonus makes a lot of sense. What are your thoughts?
I'm all for the mandible. All for the mandible.
All right. Well, before we move on to number 8, I want to take a brief advertising intermission here, so just we'll take a word from our sponsors. At Baby Steak and Lemonade, we have steak and lemonade. All right, thank you for coming back here, and we're going to roll on to number 8. What is your number 8, sir?
The lemonade washes down the steak, so it's like this really good combination. Like it goes in order. It's amazing. My number 8 is Smoke. My number 8 is Tomas Vibrata. And
Tomas?
Good old Thomas.
Vibrata. When was his name originally stated to be Thomas?
The MK9 bio? But I read the leaked one. I don't think I actually read any of the bios in-game in MK9, but I'm pretty sure they list in the bio.
Better late than never, I guess. All right. So why do you want Smoke or Mr. Thomas Vibrata, Tommy Vercetti? What do you want? Why do you want him in the game?
All my favorite characters usually get a VIP set in my top 10s, top 7s. It's kind of a shame he's not like 7 or higher, but I kind of got my fill of Smoke in MK9, and I thought the Triborg Smoke was pretty trash. He was this boring Vortex character. So I would look forward to seeing the kind of like the mid-range footsie turtley Smoke come back. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I think his design is always interesting. Whenever Smoke comes back, I'm always fascinated to see what he looks like and what they do with his design, because visually, he's one of the most interesting characters in the mythos. I really want him. And I'm always going to want Smoke. Like, Smoke is fantastic. He's one of my favorites and probably always will be. There are other characters I think we need to bring into the limelight, so he's not higher.
Understood. I'm right there with you in terms of the wanting a character just to see what they're going to do with him this time around, see how they design him this time around in the gameplay. I definitely have that feeling for several characters as well. It seems like design-wise, characters almost get better and better. I mean, not always the outfits they're wearing, but just from terms of the details they put into them. MKX, I mean, you could say a lot of things about MKX, or maybe you can't say a lot of things about it at all, but the one thing you could say about it is a lot of the characters in MKX never looked better. So I'm with you. They're on a roll here. From MKX to Injustice 2, the designs have been phenomenal for the most part. Not all of them, but for the most part is what I said there. Not all of them, but for the most part. So maybe when we get into MK11, we get Smoke in there. Maybe he is just a literal cigarette, my dude. Like, that would be
dude,
awesome.
I'd mean that shit. The cigarette doing fucking air juggles, I'd be all over that shit, yeah.
Jab juggles, MK11 style, taking it back to MK9. With Smoke. All right, that's your number 8. So how about we move on down to number 7? We should have done a top 11 for MK11, but that boat has sailed, my friend.
No, it's not. It's over. No going back here.
Yes. Plus, what are we doing at top 11? What are we, the nostalgia critic? I mean, come on, that's his gimmick.
Yeah, I have no desire to be the nostalgia critic. I'm glad I could skip that category. I don't think that's a happy place to be these days. So
shots fired. He's throwing shade, folks. Throwing shade.
Much love, but I think that tank ran out of gas kind of a few years ago. But hey, I'm a fan. I love you, Mr. Doug Walker.
The review must go on. He's a big fan of our show. He tunes in every week. Every week that we actually put out an episode, that is. All right, we'll move on to number 7. What are you thinking here?
7 is Jade. I really like Ultimate MK3 Jade. I think Ultimate MK3 Jade is a lot of fun. A very fast melee rushdown character with great tools, and they kind of turned her into this bizarro Soul Calibur character in MK9. And she had zoning, but it wasn't good. She had mid-range tools, but they were too slow. She had anti-zoning, but she couldn't really play footsies with most of the characters in the game, so who cares? Like, once she gets in mid-range, no one's really scared of her, and at least outside of the highest level, her damage was very poor. People say, oh, Jade has damage. I'll fucking believe it when I see it. In terms of practical, mid-screen combos, I didn't see anything very impressive with Jade at all. So, but yeah, I love the character. I kind of like the best friend archetype. I think that's a lot of fun. That's one thing that draws me to Smoke, by the way. So I think it's just time. I'd love to see what Jade can do in the new engine. I think if they do MKX or MK11 right, I would love to see what they do with her gameplay, because she's going to get probably revamped from the bottom up.
Speaking of from the bottom up, I've got 2 words for you, my friend, when it comes to Jade. If she's brought back, 2 words. Mortal Kombat Deception Pigtails, am I right? Bring them back. I want it. I want that outfit for Mortal Kombat Deception. I loved it. I loved the whole thing. The pigtails, the little sash going down to basically her ankles. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, handlebars variation all the way.
Absolutely. I think that was a wonderful look for her. That is back when she was my favorite female of the original 3 ninjas of the female variety, of course. The assassins, so to speak, if you will. But now that has been replaced by Katana, so we'll be moving along here. But I would like to see Jade back as well. Not quite on my top 10 list, but I'm glad she made yours.
Yeah, I miss her. I think a lot of people miss her. I think she's pretty fucking popular, actually, according to the polls, but I haven't reviewed that stuff in a long time, so I couldn't say for sure.
We'll have to check the frame data on that one. All right, we'll move on to number 6. What do you got?
Sindel. I love the Elvira shtick. I think it's cool. I love the mid-range options. Great footsies. Very cool combo construction. I think her specials are a lot of fun. And fly cancels are awesome. I really miss the character. I'd love to have a pressure footsie character like that back once again.
Sindel. All right. That is a wonderful choice. The goth chick variety, the Elvira Frankenstein, Bride of. I definitely understand where you're coming from. She's not been one of my favorite characters. Hell, I could say she might be even the low 10 of all time, but hey, that's okay. We can agree to disagree on this one. But you know what?
You're not alone.
You're not alone. Yeah, she looked like a lot of fun when you played her in MK9. She was a pain in the ass to deal with for me. But you know what? Bring her back. Why not? She sat out a game. She hasn't been in a lot of games. So bring her back. I'm cool with that. We get Shao Kahn. We get Sindel. This is starting to make a lot of sense. I like where you're going with this.
It is very Edenian now that I think about it. I never really put that together, but that is interesting.
Maybe Katana's all evil because she's a revenant now. Sindel and Shao Kahn, her parents come back and they're like, Katana, stop acting like a little bitch today, okay? Like, we didn't raise you this way. You know? Like, shut the door when we have the air conditioning on type of thing.
It is hot in Edenia. It's very humid.
What
very steamy.
What are you doing with the devil's lettuce in one of your school books? You know what I mean? Like, just holding it for a friend? Yeah, okay. Go to your room, young lady.
It's a thing. It happens 1 out of 10. Devil's lettuce.
Sindel, she is the mother of Mortal Kombat, if you will. Will you?
I will.
Okay. All right. We got Sindel for number
6.
6?
6.
Number 5.
Number 5 is going to be Cyrax.
Fuck you.
I just really like Cyrax. I think Cyrax is a lot of fun.
You. I see what you're doing here. Fuck you, sir. I mean,
I like yellow things.
What's that?
He's made of metal.
What do you like that's yellow? Name one thing that you actually like that's yellow.
Bombs.
Do I have to call the FBI?
I like Cyrax a lot. Cyrax was my main in MK3 before Ultimate came out. I think Cyrax is badass. I love his, yeah?
You're saying you're a bigger Cyrax fan than me? I have the Cyrax doll, do you?
I might be dancing on that line. I might be tripping on that rope.
Woo! Alright, here we go, folks. Okay. What the fuck are you trying to do?
It's born this way.
We're going to stop right here. Stopping the recording. When we come back, folks, we're just going to find that Temp has a different tune here. All right, and we're back. So, Temp, what are your thoughts on you being... You're not as big of a fan of Cyrax as me, right?
I like bombs. I like bombs.
We fucking talked about this when we paused the show. All right.
All right, now Cyrax is tight. He was actually one of my favorite characters to play as an MK9. And, God, the bombs, I didn't spend a lot of time with the Triborg Cyrax. I actually thought he was probably the most interesting of the 3. Sector was probably the most fun, but they did do some cool stuff with Cyrax. I couldn't get a handle on it. I thought Triborg Cyrax was a little strange, but probably closer to what I wanted to do with the character. But I just love MK9 Cyrax. And I like the character. I miss Cyrax. The fact that it wasn't an MKX was bullshit, so I really want to have him back.
Nah, he sucks. All right. Moving on to number 4. What do you got?
Number 4, I have Serena. This is the only character that's not a gameplay selection. I just really feel like she should be in the game.
I mean, she has yet to be in a 2D game, or just one of the main games in general, not counting Tournament Edition, because that's not a main game, but yeah.
Yeah, she's never been like a selectable roster choice, and that really makes me sad. I mean, like you said, no one counts fucking Unchained or Armageddon or Game Boy Advance Combat or whatever the fuck that shit is. So, yeah, I think it's time. I really like her personality in MKX. She's kind of like, in my opinion, a better Ashra. That's where I stand on. And I like Ashra too. I think
You're
Ashra's
just trying to fucking piss me off, aren't you? You're just
I'm a
trying.
big Ashra fan too. I love Ashra.
To piss me off. All right, I'm not going to allow you to do it. So. Yeah, Serena's pretty cool. I know Razor's a big fan. She'll probably take the number 1 spot on his list, I'd imagine. And I think I agree with you. She is overdue. In MKX, she was at least there in story mode, so they've acknowledged that character, which is a good thing. It's kind of like Lee May, where you might have looked at it as a bad thing because it's just kind of like teasing you there. But at the same point, at least she's acknowledged in this new timeline where there's going to be a lot of characters. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of characters in this new timeline that aren't even going to be addressed in the main series. There's going to be a lot of fat trimmed off of that's just left behind in the past. So if they're at least acknowledged and put into story, it means they at least care enough to reintroduce the character. So I think Serena has a fair chance to be in MK11, and by having a fair chance, of course, that means she probably has no chance at all.
I think almost every character I mentioned has a very strong chance, with one exception, and that's my number 3.
All right. Well, then take us there.
3 is Shujinko. And there's almost nothing I can't say without repeating myself. I like Shujinko. I think the gameplay potential is awesome. I think the design could be really cool. I love Mortal Kombat Deception. I don't know what to tell people at this point. I just really like Shujinko. That's all I got. All
right. Well, that is perfectly cool. I am not that into Shujinko. I see the appeal from your end. You got your little Pai Mei kind of dude from Kill Bill and old Kung Fu movies, which is cool. And I do like the idea of chain combos, mixing different people's specials. If they actually took that approach, I think that would be badass. If he was actually using the different specials in his normals and in his chains, in his strings, I should say. But yeah, I mean, he wasn't done too great. I didn't like the idea of just a character that can do anybody's specials in the past. But obviously, I like the concept of the character. I like his look. If they made him a little bit more interesting, but I like that old Kung Fu master look. And yeah, if you put some more specials in his strings, would be kind of fun and interesting to see. So I wouldn't be totally against it. But number 2 for you?
Number 2 is hard because I want number 2 to be number 1, but everyone knows my number 1 is, and I can't change that. Number 2,
the Joker.
Possibly, maybe.
It's a dark horse chance.
There's a dark horse chance it's the Joker.
Okay, go ahead and reveal your number 2.
Joker community. Number 2 is Nightwolf. I love Nightwolf. My gameplay favorite from MK9. I also like the character a lot. I think the character is really interesting. Fucking moonbeams, green arrows, fucking lightning bolts. His dash is just interesting to me. That shoulder charge that is safe on block is such a cool footsie tool. And all things considered, they did a really good job balancing that in MK9. That should have been broken on paper. But what it does is it forces the opponent to neutral duck for punishing, and then it basically hands the neutral back over to Nightwolf, so he can kind of play this interesting offensive game. So I fucking like Nightwolf a lot. I think people don't like him because he was so low tier, but I think the only reason he's bad in MK9 is because he couldn't deal with most of the S tiers. I think if you fix the S tiers, he's one of the most balanced characters in that game, in my opinion. Glitches aside, he was very glitch prone. compared to other characters, but God, from a gameplay perspective, I would have made that character if Smoke was not in the game. Which is weird because he wasn't my secondary. Sindel was my secondary. I actually took Sindel to tournament. But Nightwolf, God, that character was a lot of fun, and I miss him. I think he was another shining diamond from Ultimate MK3 who was just kind of waiting in line to get back, and I think his chances are decent. I don't think he's a lock. I think he has like a 30% chance of coming back. I think someone like Cabal has a better chance of returning than Nightwolf.
Interesting. I agree with you on Nightwolf, though. I think I'm not sure who Nightwolf is that you're thinking of. I do know of a character named Nightwolf. I do like Nightwolf.
He's good, yeah. No.
Yeah, he's a cool character, and I think he's interesting. I liked him in MK9 as well, and I would like to see him back in MK11 as well. So I think that's a good choice there, champ.
Oh yes, no, you gotta get both F's in there, but yes.
Yep, you really gotta drag it out, Nightwolf.
Take that, Shadowloo.
Woof. Woof. Woof.
Woof.
Woof. Number one.
Number one is Lee May. And honestly, I'll take anything at this point. I mean, I know she was kind of pitched as this bombshell character, but that really has very little to do with what I like about the character. I just like the tragedy of Lee May and kind of how that culminated in Deception. And I love an acrobat. If you can give me a fast melee character, that is a lot of fun for me. You don't even have to put her in like scant clothing. Just fucking dress her up as the Michelin Man. I don't give a fuck. Just put her in the game. I just want to fucking do cartwheels.
I mean, yeah, hell, put her in a t-shirt that says I fucked a Naga and all I got was this lousy t-shirt.
I'd pay $2.99 for that.
But yeah, I agree with you.
I'd buy the whole combat pack.
I agree with you. I mean, I like acrobats too. I mean, that was a big appeal for Katana in MKX for me. I like the nimbleness. I've said that on record several times. I like nimble characters. I like feeling graceful when I'm fighting. Same reason why I like Poison Ivy and all those. I love nice martial arts that looks graceful. I like the butterfly kicks and just very graceful movement like that. And Lee May definitely has that. So I agree with you. She's a great choice. And I also don't think you need to make her like the scantily clad slut of Mortal Kombat either, because in MKX, they didn't take that approach. They made her, very respectable looking, and she looked like a very, and we don't really have like that Asian woman like represented, do we? Like on the roster in general.
It's tough because I feel like Katana was supposed to be that role, and she's become progressively more Caucasian throughout the games.
Yeah,
so even in MK2, she took off her mask and she was some random white chick. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess it was supposed to be Katana, and that ship is kind of sailed. So yeah, it'd be cool if we had the female martial artist of the Japanese visual, at least. I know she's from Outworld, but most people in Outworld look Japanese anyway. So
sure, and yeah, I think that would be great. Like that's a great art style. Put her in like the kimonos and that type of stuff, and the outfit that they had
the cherry blossoms.
Yeah, I think that looks great, and I think if you do that and she's doing martial arts and stuff in that's freaking cool to me. I think that's badass. So you have me sold on it, and I'd be on board.
I never like thought they would do that anyway. I always thought if they brought her back, she'd be much more conservative, not just because of the MKX story mode, but because, the scantily clad slut in Injustice 2 was Aquaman. So I have a feeling they're probably not doing that with the females much anymore. Not these days.
Thankfully, yeah. MK9, was their last kind of... It's like that was their turning point where they finally realized, hey, we're going to grow up. I guess, I don't know, like try and mature with our audience. I don't know.
I mean, they did it with Starfire, but Starfire, there was so much pandering going on behind that DLC, and there was such a fan outrage. I don't think they wanted to mess with that template at all, so I think that's why that turned out the way it did.
And, I mean, that fits Starfire. In the comic, she is, like, very kind of promiscuous, so yeah, I mean, that's not really out of the realm of normal for that character, so. But yeah. When they're kind of deciding how they want to do Mortal Kombat characters, I don't think it's necessary for Lee May. It just doesn't fit her character type, in my opinion. Like with Melina, it makes sense why she would want to do that, but yeah, with Lee May, it just doesn't. So, anyways, So that's your top 10.
Yep, that's my top 10.
You want to recap here real quick and just run down the top 10?
We have Reptile, 9 is Shao Kahn, 8 is Smoke, any version really. 7 is Jade, 6 is Sindel, 5 is my favorite character, Cyrax.
Fuck you.
4 is Serena. 3 is Shujinko, number 2 is my buddy Nightwolf, and number 1 is Li Mei.
All right. Well, that wraps up the top 10 from Temp's side. I'm hoping that we can get everyone else through and do their top 10, much like we did for the Injustice 2 wish list on who we wanted on the roster for Injustice 2. I'm hoping to get everyone through in their own individual episode or whatever you want to call it. So that's Temp's list. Go ahead and leave your vote on who you want to see, as well as comment on Temp's suggestions and his picks. And we'll catch you next time, and see you down the road once we get to the MK11 reveal, which is still quite a ways away.
Peace.
Adios.